If you're new to this channel, my name's Ellie and I am an urban cut flower and veggie grower here in Taupo, New Zealand. That's gardening zone 9B. I love sharing tips, flower inspiration and all things gardening. So if that sounds like you, I'd love you to follow along. Hello and welcome back. I am hoping that you'll be able to hear me over the rain. I'm hiding away in the greenhouse today, but I just thought I would share with you what I'm getting up to heading into spring. There's a few main tasks that I'm doing at the moment, and that is sowing, transplanting, a little bit of harvesting, and then the fourth one is just trying to find some room for the massive amount of overseed sowing that I have done already. In terms of what I am still sowing at the moment, I am going to be moving on to my zinnia and sunflowers over the next week, and I'm also going to be sowing continuous successions of my cosmos. So I do have my first cosmos started. I'm going to keep sowing a few successions of those throughout spring and summer as well. Other than that, there's not a whole lot more for me to be sowing right now because I've done the kind of groundwork with my cold hardy annuals, and I've started a lot of my veggies with my tomatoes and herbs with my basil and my beans. So yeah, I've done a lot of the hard work now. So it's kind of just those really heat loving annuals, and of course my dahlia tubers, which I sometimes try and pre-sprout them all and wake them up a little early, which I have done with some of the ones I've potted up. But I don't really need to boost my stock this year. I'm not taking cuttings. I haven't got the capacity to sell any cuttings this year. And yeah, I just really don't need any more stock. So I am not taking a whole load of dahlia cuttings this year. I might wake up a few that are kind of those unicorn really special ones that I might take a few from. But other than that, I am not going to stress myself out with that. And I think that's really important, is just do what you can do. Between work and mum life, I've not got a whole lot of time to be out here, especially before daylight savings kicks in. So when daylight savings happens, that's going to be amazing because I will just get my evenings out here again. But by the time I've got the kids in bed now, it's dark and I can't come out, so that's okay. You just do what you can do. I've got a lot of seeds started, I've got a lot of cold hardy annuals in already, and it will be enough. So yeah, I just look forward to the fun part now where it all starts to bloom and harvest. So in this tub here I have my seedlings that I have moved from my indoor little greenhouse, and I've moved them outdoors, still in the greenhouse, so protected from frost, but I've just moved them on now. You can see I've got basil that I can actually pick from, and yeah, it's still very much cold outside, so I'm very happy with the basil. I've got some Madam Butterfly snapdragons which I will transplant soon. Cosmos, I won't be putting these out until the threat of frosts have gone, but I will probably pot these up again once they're bigger because they are going to be growing on in here for a while. I also have amaranthus, which I have found can grow on for a little while in a 6-cell container. I grew them probably till they were about this high in just a 6-cell last year, so I'm going to do that again. And because I'm only growing on such a small scale, I've got what, 6, 12, 18, sometimes there's 2 in each cell, so I've probably got around, I don't know, 30 amaranthus seedlings of the green tails, and that's all I'm going to really need in one succession. I don't need a whole 72 cell tray of it, so sowing in these 6 cells is fine, especially when I've sown early. It can grow on in here a little while longer. I've got some tomatoes which really need going on to a bit bigger pot, so that's on my to-do list as well. These are salvia, which I've potted on, and then I also have Scabiosa Farmer White, which is a perennial. I have way more of these than I need as well because I've got a few more started inside and a few more behind me, and because these are perennial, I thought I might sell a few seedlings of those, so I will keep probably half for me and half I will sell. And then I've got some penstemon here as well, which is another perennial, and I probably don't need all of these plants as well, so I will sell a few of those. Selling some of these plants just helps me recoup some of my seed money before I've started selling my flowers. So if you're looking for another way to kind of cover your costs a little bit before the flowers really start coming in, selling seedlings is a good way to do it. I've also got some straw flower popping up there. Heading on to this tub, excuse me, I've just got more basil. Excuse me, I just had a coughing fit. We're back. So I've got more basil that I've potted on, and I've also got beans, which it must have got really cold in here one night because it looked like they've been hit by a frost and they look completely dead, but since then new growth has sprouted up. I have just popped some of the Tui quash pellets down because you can see they were getting a little bit nibbled there. These are what I use for the slugs and snails in here. And then moving over, I've got delphinium, which again you can see the roots there. I really need to think about potting some of these on. More straw flower, snaps that I just didn't have room for. Everything in here needs a water, you can see it's looking dry. And lots more delphinium and larkspur started as well. I just have some of these beautiful Madam Butterfly bronze snapdragons that I'm going to transplant now. They are cold hardy and we haven't got frosts on the forecast for a few days, so I'm going to transplant them into this bed behind me. If it looks like we're getting hard frost incoming, I will chuck a frost cloth over them just till they are used to growing in a little bit more of a cooler environment. Yeah, these are one of my favourite snapdragons, so I'm going to pop these in. This is another cutting bed that I have, and I've got some Dara growing here, which is also known as chocolate lace flower. It's a really pretty filler for bouquets. And then I have another bed of ranunculus. If you saw my video on taking feverfew cuttings as well, I kind of spoke about how it's a little bit temperamental to grow from seed. Well, ironically now, it's self-seeded absolutely everywhere. So I can prick these out and pot them up or just let them do their thing. But yeah, after trying and failing several times to grow feverfew from seed this year, I resorted to cuttings and now it's just everywhere. So it's good to know that it self-seeds very easily. And then I've got some delphinium popping up again as well. These were completely eaten down by slugs when I went back to the UK, but they've popped up again nicely regrown. Over in this bed I have a lot of snapdragons, larkspur, which I direct seeded and it's looking lovely, and then into some more snapdragons. And I've got another little bed here, and then going over, this is a new bed where I have delphinium. I've left a couple of rows there for more snapdragons that I have in the greenhouse. Snaps, evening scented stock, salvia, and some statice. I've also just popped some of my sweet peas in a container. I found that they grow in containers really well. As long as you keep the feed and the water up, they'll be fine. I will just put another row of string around the bottom here so that they have something to climb a little bit before they get all the way up here. So that is on my to-do list, just to add some support for those guys. It's a big mess over here now, but my plan is to add another one or two of these along on this spare patch of grass here. I have a lot more seedlings that I need to transplant and I'm just running out of room, so I'm just going to take a little bit more lawn space back and put another couple of rows in there. I have my Crispidia who have just been hardening off out here. So these are billy buttons and I'm going to pop them in with the other billy buttons here. So these are my second year Crispidia, and I'm really interested to see how they compare to first year. So they are perennial in zone 9B I've found, but I'm interested to do a productivity test between what will be first year and second year, so I'll keep you updated on how that goes. I also planted a little patch of Gadisha in autumn this year. It's meant to be a very productive spring flower. So I just planted a few because I kind of just, when I'm doing trials, I don't go full hog and do a whole row, but I'm very interested to see how this Gadisha gets on in terms of its productivity and also when it starts to bloom. So it was one that's autumn sown. I would say it's a late spring bloomer by how it's looking now, maybe even early summer, so that's another one that I'll keep you in the loop with. This was one of my beds that I had to move from over there just because we're putting a little granny flat out there. I've got foxgloves, cornflower and delphinium, and then I'm going to save this half of the bed for my cosmos. So I'm really trying to fight the urge not to plant out a load of seedlings that I've got ready into here now, because it gets really good sun kind of from late spring. So I am going to dedicate this space to my cosmos, and that's quite a big patch for cosmos. I should be able to get a lot of blooms from that. So the tulips have just started to come in, which is very cool. So I've planted a mixture of early season tulips this year, mid-season blooming ones, and then the later season blooming ones. So this is just one of the little patches that I've got, and you can see these beautiful Verona tulips are coming in now. This is one of the ranunculus patches that I have, and you can see that we've got a lot of buds starting to pop up now. So this patch is probably just over 1 meter by 1 meter, and there are so many flowers that are just starting to emerge. So I'm hoping that this will be a nice little producer. And this isn't very pretty, but I've got another ranunculus row here. It's kind of a bit of a shambles row. I've got some Canterbury bells in there, some poppies, ranunculus. But this spot, it's pretty shady until a little bit later in spring. You can see I do have some buds there. But yeah, it just doesn't look like it's going to be as productive as the other patch yet, just because it's not had a whole lot of sun during that growing period. Just over at another row of tulips. I found here in 9B we are a little behind everybody else when it comes to spring flowers, and especially the tulips. They're only really starting to come in now. I know in a little bit warmer climates they've had them for a while now, but it's good. I'm definitely looking forward to more tulips. I just wanted to give you an update if you watched my feverfew cuttings video. So you'll see that I took this tray of cuttings on that video. I think it was probably 3 weeks ago now, but I just took one out, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see because the roots are really so tiny. I'm trying to put it there, I don't know if it will focus, but they have tiny roots, so it really didn't take that long at all for those to take. So that is a whole nother tray of plants that I have to find room for as well.